Dun 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 dun. JoshCast. Dun 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 dun. No, it's the podcast that I don't think anybody knows about. Dun 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 dun. No, I just found my inhaler in the car. Dun 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 dun. JoshCast. Dun 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 dun. JoshCast. Dun dun. Okay, so I did some research about Mike Pence, who is our potential future vice president / horseman of the apocalypse. That's what I'm thinking there. I found it interesting that when he was, before he got into politics, he was actually a radio DJ, or he was in radio, talk radio. And he described himself as Rush Limbaugh, but decaf. So he described himself as a decaf Rush Limbaugh. I don't entirely know what that means, but then again, I don't entirely know what a tiger is saying when it roars at me. I just have the general idea of fear. I'm more of a liberal person, so I guess you could describe me as perhaps Howard Stern on decaf, and just a mild Howard Stern. You know, he brings in naked women. I talk about Star Trek. That's sort of where I'm coming from. That's how I would sell this podcast. A very, Howard Stern light, the stevia Howard Stern. That's what I am, as far as I'm concerned. So that's happening. I was going through and reading Mike Pence's Wikipedia page, which this is a man who is taking positions against certain scientific principles that goes against, I think, everybody. I'm fairly certain. And I don't understand this, too, by the way, this whole concept of not listening to all these scientists who are saying that climate change is man-made. People refuse to believe that climate change is man-made, and I don't understand. I don't understand this. I think I've even heard in places. I think even Pence said something to the effect of, it's a conspiracy, or it's something that the scientists are making up. Why would the scientists want to make that up? Why would you want to make that up? Climate change is man-made because of all of the meat we are eating. The process to provide that meat is destroying the environment, in so many words, and because of all of the cars that we drive. Why would scientists want to? I mean, if it were a conspiracy, if all the scientists got together and said we need to convince people that climate change is real. I mean, what is it? Because they're all like working for the one solar panel company that's sort of like a solar panel mafia? Is that what's going on? Is there some kind of, conspiracy to get people on solar panels? So they are creating this gigantic conspiracy. That doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to me. It simply does not make sense. I haven't met all scientists, but I imagine that the vast majority of them like eating cheeseburgers and think that Corvettes are cool. So it would not be in their interest to say that climate change is real in order to not have those things. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I think, but probably here's what's really going on, I would think, is I think you have the oil industry and the big meat industry, and they have lobbyists, and the lobbyists, and they have special interest groups, and that's getting to the politicians, and the politicians are acting on their behalf and trying to make a case on their behalf for why we should not adopt climate change policies. And you know what? That in and of itself doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the refuting science or questioning science when scientists are already questioning themselves, and though some healthy degree of questioning is fine, I get that. This seems to be going overboard. I would respect what I would prefer. This is what I want to see. I want to see a Republican or anyone beyond Republican or Democrat who is on the side other than climate change is real, to come out and say, hey, listen, we've looked at the science, and yeah, we totally get it. Climate change is man-made and it's happening, but we don't care. We want to make America great again for the next 10 or 15 years. That's all we really care about doing. After the country, after that, if the world dies, we're fine with that, because the vast majority of us are baby boomers anyway, and we've only got 10 or 15 years left. So we just want to have a party. That's our political platform. We want to eat meat and drive Corvettes now, and if the millennials struggle with it, well, have you met a millennial? Who cares? That's what their platform should be. And if that was, I think if that was their platform, I think they'd get a lot more. I think they get a lot more action, a lot more hits. My favorite car growing up, my favorite toy car was the Saab 9000. That should tell you exactly the kind of person I am. The Saab 9000, if you've never seen it before, it's basically, imagine if a Volvo put on lipstick. That's a Saab 9000. And that was the car that I enjoyed playing, pretending with. That, if I created a detective series, the detective wouldn't drive a Corvette, he'd drive a Saab 9000. And he would always have 2 bodyguards and multiple insurance policies. I mean, not just health insurance. I'm talking about, whatever insurance private investigators should have. He would have that. Probably some venue insurance, too, just to be safe. That's the kind of show I would create. And he would solve crimes that didn't involve murder. I mean, just, hey, someone damaged this potted plant. See what you can do about that. Yeah, I'll be right on it. I'll just hop in my Saab 9000. We do a version of Knight Rider with the Saab 9000, and that way when he says, hey, we need to jump over that cliff, the car can say, or we could take a safer route and coordinate our efforts with the local law enforcement to catch the guy. That's what I would prefer to do. This is the end of the podcast, the end of the podcast, and the children play and the children sing. This is the end of the podcast.